Next, we have a hot seat discussion session on empowering youth to pursue green jobs. For this, I would like to invite Mr. Ding Long Pham once again, Youth Social Entrepreneurship and Innovation Coordinator at UNDP in Asia and the Pacific, to introduce the session and its panelists. Over to you, Ding Long.
Thank you so much, Ms. Sisi Shen. It's an honor to be introduced twice by you. So hello, everyone. So thank you so much for all joining. So today's session that we are doing right now is about green jobs, empowering young people to pursue green jobs. And we had a pretty nice transition just 5 minutes ago with a question from Ong Sing. Is green job one of the solutions? And we had an amazing answer as well. It's an answer both for climate action, but also to create employments. And before we start with the hot seat itself, and before I explain about what is a hot seat, I wanted just to introduce briefly and define what is green jobs so that we are all on the same page. I just wanted to maybe contextualize everything. Did you know that the ILO estimates that 25 million jobs can be created in a transition to a greener economy? At the same time, we speak more and more about youth unemployment. And at the same time, we have seen that it's been difficult for young people to transition from being maybe a volunteer in climate movement to having a full-time job. And I think we just saw it in the session just previously that sometimes it's very difficult. We are studying, we are working, and then in the evening, on the weekend, we have to continue our volunteer climate advocacy. It's very difficult. And actually, green jobs could be one of the pathways to really reach and as the objective of having more and more people joining the workforce when it comes to green jobs, 25 million jobs, it's quite a lot. So we need to be ready for that. And for us, what's very interesting, because we see so many young people being volunteer, is this transition. How can you move from being a climate volunteer to having a green job? So maybe before I introduce that, I just wanted to ask a question on the chat. Very, very easy. But can you just type number one, if you think that you are having a green job currently, and 0, if not. So please just share, spam the chat while you are sharing. I just wanted to introduce this slide on the screen. You can see 1, 2, 3. And for us, what is green job? It's something that you can achieve through 3 pathways. The first one is we call green careers. It is when, for example, you work for WWF, or UNEP, it has the word environment, climate. It's pretty obvious that you have a job which is directly linked to environmental protection or climate change. The second pathway, which is very interesting for most of us, is greening job. Is when you have a job, your current job might not be directly linked to environment or climate change, but through the exact position that you have, your day-to-day work is about climate change. Maybe it's about making your organization more eco-friendly. Maybe it's about leading some climate project in the broader organization, but it's something that we could all do, and we'll speak about it today. And the third one is about green entrepreneurs, and you have seen it through the presentation of Jay this morning. There's so many green entrepreneurs in this room as well, but here are a bit the 3 pathways that you could follow if you want to pursue a green job. So now that we are all on the same page, I will invite all the 3 speakers. I will introduce a bit about the hot seat, and let me just see the chat. So we have half. Someone said 1 and 0 at the same time. It's interesting. So yeah, so today it's a hot seat. So what does it mean? So for the first round, we'll show you an example of hot seat. So I will first ask our panelists to introduce themselves, but instead of me asking questions, I will be sitting on a hot seat, which is so hot that I cannot stay there forever. So I will just pass the ball to someone, and when they are done, they will pass the ball to the next person, and we'll do rounds like this. But for the first round, my easy question that I will pass to someone is, can you just introduce yourself? And can you also explain from your perspective on which green job pathway do you identify the most with? And then later, you'll have a chance to explain a bit more about your green job, so no worries. And maybe just to start, I will give it to Ea. She's the first one I see on my screen. Maybe Ea, go for it.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Aya. I'm based in the Philippines. Just a quick answer to Dinong's question. I identify my current job as a green career because I work in an international movement and we are working with other organizations to end plastic pollution. I'll pass it on to Chanbara.
Bora. Yes.
Oh, sorry. Thank you, Aya, for your quick introductions. So, my name is Bora, and also to answer to the no question. So, I identify my current jobs as greening jobs, because I'm working at my current organization to actually level up our sustainability commitment and to actually try to achieve our sustainability targets. So, the next hot ball will go to Shisha. Yeah.
Yes, Shasha, can you make Shasha co-host, please?
Yeah, now it's okay. So thank you so much, Tinlong. So just a short answer for your first question. I would categorize my current job as a greening job. And this is Shersha Khan. Apart from many other things, I'm quite proud to represent the Movers program over here. I'm a Movers Envoy from Pakistan, and we'll be talking a lot more about the journey that took me to this current green job, because when I joined the Movers program, I was not in any green job. I was maybe in the darkest job on the planet. So we'll be talking more about that. Over back to you, Dinong.
Thank you so much, everyone. And yeah, Shersha is our superstar. In YECAP, in Movers, you can see, we call him the unstoppable Sher. So you will hear that from time to time today. So yeah, this was our first round of hot seat, our practice round. So now we'll get into our, main discussion. And hot seat, it's good. I will just introduce the section, but again, so I'll give it to a first speaker who will ask the first question to someone that you want, and then we'll just do a chain until time is almost up. So basically what we will do is everyone will basically answer 2 questions and ask 2 questions. So everyone will speak to one another. So you will see, it will be a nice flow. And maybe for the first question, I will ask Bora, Shanbora, if you can ask your first question to someone.
Yes, thank you, Dindong. So my first question is to Shisha. So, can you tell us a little bit about your current green jobs? And additionally, could you also share us a little bit about what you have been doing currently for the climates? So that's my question. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Bora. So currently I'm a research analyst in a YouTube channel, and the main idea of it's an upcoming YouTube channel, so you would not see many of my work right now. But what I am currently doing is, all the climate knowledge that I've accumulated through these years, through workshops. So I'm trying to make it, more accessible to everyone, because YouTube is one such platform that everyone can just get educated quite quickly with. So I'm finding innovative ways how to explain that chart that we usually explain in our Movers workshop. The sun rays comes here, and then this is how global warming is happening, just to make animated videos and all. And apart from this, also, cover many other green aspects that we want to, increase awareness about, especially about all the SDGs. And so this was, and just to tell you, like when I joined this job, the main idea wasn't here. Like the main idea was to have a YouTube channel that's directed to youth, and it should be objective and all. So when I came in, I was, in my green perspectives, and So I grabbed this opportunity. That's why I call it greening. So, the green job wasn't there until I came in. And I made sure it's green. And I included a lot of environmental programs, and they're upcoming, and you'll all be able to see them, and how the laws, for example, Paris Climate Agreement. Just to make a quick video out of it, a 2 to 3 minute video, so that everyone can understand what the Paris Climate Agreement is, or for example, what net zero is, and all these, the datas that we have, until they are visualized and made simple to understand for a majority of people, we wouldn't be able to reach out to many people. And I guess, until we are a majority, us as climate activists, until we are a majority, we cannot do much, because we are up against, those climate deniers. They're quite powerful, especially talking about I'll be talking about my transition too. So, the oil and gas industry, they're still climate deniers, and they're funding so many things against us. So we have to tackle them through innovative ways. I guess with this, I have answered your short question. Now I would like to ask Ia, and can you please tell us about your current green job, and how did you reach to this place?
All right, thank you. I'll try to be concise and answer in a few minutes. I am currently the Asia Pacific Communications Officer of Break Free from Plastic, which is a global movement of organizations and individuals, 12,000 organizations and individuals in different parts of the world. Everybody who's part of that movement is working on something to end plastic pollution. Eventually, we believe we're gonna see that reality. But before getting there, I spent 7 years in the media industry. I produce news, stories, strategy, etc. in a news channel. Eventually, I just felt like I can do more, or I can have a more direct impact in some ways. And then I started exploring and volunteering till I reached the 2030 Youth Force, where I volunteered. And from there, I gained new skills, etc. Shifted to work in the environment, where I managed a program on transparency on extractive industries and natural resource governance. And then eventually, I became more dedicated to sustainability as a career path. So then I decided to really be proactive and looking for opportunities to marry my communications background and my passion for sustainability and environment protection. And luckily, fortunately, I found an opportunity here with Break Free from Plastic, which is also an international movement. So I think I was able to transfer the skills that I've gained through volunteering and my previous work to the current career that I have. So now I amplify stories of impact of our organizations. I do communications campaign, and support national and international lobbying and campaigns for policies. That's a overview of my green career. Okay, so how about you, Chanbara? What skills did you need to have for your current role as a sustainable operations and program manager at Impact Hub Phnom Penh? And yeah, how do you help make impact happen through your organization?
Right. Thank you, Aya, for your amazing questions. So some of the skills that's required for my roles, it may include like a 3 main level. So the first one is so the first skill required to perform this role is the knowledge of the sustainability practice and principle. So this can just be like a general understandings of SDGs and climate knowledge, which could easily acquire through like training such as a mover, and by joining other climate related programs with other youth, especially in the regions. So on a higher level is the skill or the ability to actually understand and put into practice of a circular economy, and how to close the loop, especially in the company operations. So this could be like starting from just having like a proper waste management systems, proper practice of energy savings and energy efficiency for the office space, and to actually encourage a sustainable behavior change to all the staffs and team member to actually adopt a sustainable lifestyle. So by doing so, all the team member could also at the same time help contribute to like our sustainability commitment. But on a more technical and strategic level, so some of the skill required to set in motion the sustainability practice into a company operation playbook is in terms of like creating environmental and sustainability policies and strategy. So this is as a mean to actually hold the company accountable to our written commitments. So basically to transition from just talk the talk to ultimately walks the talks. So through my role as sustainable operations and program manager, it has actually allowed me to help make an impact. So by driving a sustainability initiative at the organizational level. So again, this could include reducing organizational carbon footprints by reducing our waste and emissions, and by trying to promote like a sustainable supply chains and procurement, especially for our programs and events that we run, and by implementing like energy efficiency practice. And at the same time, there's an opportunity also to actually engage with impact of stakeholders, such as youth, through our climate education and entrepreneurship program. So by introducing the concept of SDG and also introducing the knowledge that could encourage them to take on a climate action. So that is pretty much my answer. And then I would like to ask to Aya. So, if someone wants to take on green jobs as their professional career, how can they assess their own skill to meet the needs of the job requirements? And for someone who is new to the concept of green job and want to explore these opportunities, so how can they do that? So thank you.
Right. Thanks, Shinbara. How do we assess the skills that we have for green jobs? I think first, we just need to identify what we're good at and also what we are not good at. Sometimes it's easier to identify what we're not good at, so we can kind of avoid it and then see the remaining areas of things that we can explore, because we're not bad at it. There's a potential here. Okay. Also, you check what you enjoy and what you don't enjoy. In my case, I prefer talking, I prefer communicating than doing math, for example. But also, aside from like hard skills, you can also look into soft skills. So what are like soft skills? Maybe more of your eye for detail, or you being, you're okay being contacted even on weekends, for example, or you can juggle multiple tasks, etc. Because these are the soft skills that may not be technical, specific to a certain job, maybe not like accounting or something like that, but maybe soft skills that you can still transfer to whatever job or career path that you'd like to take. In this case, green jobs, for example. So I think taking stock of what you're good at and your soft skills would be helpful, because this is what you have and what you can carry to wherever you're going next. But also, I would really, really advise to explore your potentials, not just through studying, but also through real life experiences like volunteering. Because this is a very soft entry point, I think. Well, I hope you find the organizations, and we can help you find organizations where you can volunteer. But because here you can explore and you have peers who can guide you. For example, if you'd like to learn about collaborations or partnerships, how to engage stakeholders, how to talk to government officials, how to write policy briefs, for example, the things that you may not have learned in school, but you can learn through a volunteer setting, because these are also the skills that you need when you would transfer to a green job. So I think that's the path that I took, in a sense, that my internship was through volunteering. So it broadened my horizon, in a sense. Yeah. Okay. Sure, Sha, I heard you previously worked in an extractive industry, oil, gas. How did you transition into this green jobs? Like, what were the challenges? What was it like for you, and what motivated you to make the shift?
Yeah, thank you, Ia. So I would take on your point of, getting into the green jobs via volunteering. So I share the same story. So it was back in 2021, and I just recently graduated in the development sector, and I chose the oil and gas industry because it was in my native region, right? And I was kind of in its CSR department, a kind of a bit green section of the oil and gas industry. But just when I joined, I discovered the Movers program on LinkedIn, and that's when everything changes. So I was getting more and more aware about climate, and I was doing climate action level 1, level 2 workshops, and here I was sitting in the oil and gas industry. So it was kind of clashing with my morals, and slowly and gradually, because of the Movers program, I was getting aware of all these green skills that I have to work on so that I can get a green job. But definitely I had to fulfill my contract time of 1 year. And I was like, when will this 1 year get over so that I just say bye-bye to this oil and gas industry? I was trying to offset my emissions by doing workshops or planting trees, but that's not going to solve the thousands of barrels being pulled out of the ground every day. And kind of I was a part of it, being in the PR section, right, or the CSR section. I was actually the spin doctor of trying to prove that no, the oil and gas industry is good, but it wasn't good. So in one of our workshops, Dinlong would remember this, there is greenwashing and green marketing, and I was like, I'm actually part of green washing. If the because all the oil and gas industry is doing is greenwashing. They cannot cover up their pollution. So all of this, doing movers workshops, knowing about other green opportunities, trying to upscale. For example, let me tell you, because of the Movers program, we make posters, for our workshops. So I learned Canva, for example, and learning Canva has actually landed me into this job. So volunteering, learning something at a volunteer place, and then actually trying to earn money out of it through a job. So for those who find it difficult to switch from such an industry, who are lacking the skills, you can always, just like Ia said, and even my story tells you about this thing, that you can always upscale through volunteering platforms that are linked to the green economy, and then you can actually land a good paying job in the green economy. So I guess this summarizes my transition from the oil and gas industry, and I'm quite happy that I finally got rid of. Otherwise, it's not about money, because the oil and gas industry pays the most money. But for me, money didn't matter that much. So with this, I guess let's enrich this discussion more. I would ask Bora about, normal people, normal jobs, and how can they, turn their normal jobs into green jobs? What can they do in their day-to-day activities? Over to you, Bora.
Thank you, Shasha. It's actually, me, I would say this is like quite a difficult question to answer. But yeah, there are actually several ways to actually greening our daily jobs and to make it more environmentally friendly and more sustainable. So the first way is to start by reducing our waste at our workplace. So one way to do that is to involve like actions like start reusing a reusable water bottle, like bring your own like tumbler to work when you go out for coffee, and trying to like printing only the necessary documents that you only need, and printing double size. So there's like a part to contribute reducing the waste and to actually properly disposal of electronic waste. And the second way is to try to conserve energy as much as possible, especially in your operations in your office. So this could involve like simply like turning off lights and electric device when it's not in use, unplugging when you fully charge your laptops when you're working, and also using energy efficient light bulbs and appliance, and try to adjust the AC to keep it to keep it at 25 degrees. So that would using less energy, especially it will also save the operation cost also. And the third one is to use sustainable means of transport. So by choosing to bike to works or walkings or carpoolings and using public transport, it could also help reducing the carbon footprints and also to contribute to a cleaner environments and make the air more breathable in the city. And I think the other way is to promote sustainable practice. So this can include like implementing like a recycling programs in your office, using environmentally friendly cleaning products, and purchasing office supply, especially those that's made from sustainable material. And next is to support sustainability initiative. This could be like implementing renewable energy sources, like trying to get a direct renewable energy source back into your office. So there's like a one way that you could help encourage your company to actually start instead of depends on the grid. So why not encourage your company to actually start installing like solar panel and to use a direct renewable energy. So that's another way to cut down the carbon emissions. And another, lastly, to me, I think work from home is also another way to actually help clean your job. So it could reduce the environmental impacts of your office and by and reducing the carbon from commuting to work. So I think there's like several ways that I could think of that could actually help cleaning your job, but in a more like simple and easy way that actually everyone here can actually start implementing. So I think that's it. Maybe all over to Ding Long.
Thank you so much, Bora, Ea, Unstoppable Chair. Maybe just to summarize this quick round of amazing questions and answers. I really love what you mentioned, Shersha. You made your job green. You arrive, you are not supposed really to do that, but you were into your climate, momentum. So you decided, okay, I will make my job greener. There is no other option. And then came your research on climate and the YouTube channel and making content accessible. Another way, the Bora's way, is whatever he was already doing in his personal capacity, biking to work, reducing waste, turning off the electronic devices. He went then on an advocacy journey to make it that everyone, all of his colleagues also do that, right? It's moving from the personal action to the collective action. And then for everyone, a nice advice from Ea is start by understanding what you are good at, what you are not good at, what do you like to do, but start with real life experiences. If you remember the small graph I showed from volunteer to green job, it also starts with volunteering, right? It starts with real life experiences. It's only through that, meeting people, discovering issues that you can understand what are you very and really passionate about. And maybe we can do a final round with a question that we hear a lot through our movers workshop on green jobs or through the discussions is, what can everyone do right now? Let's say the YECAP dialogue is over in less than an hour. What can people who are watching us do immediately? So we can finish that on this round. And we started already with Bora and then Ea. So maybe this time let's start with Shersha.
Yeah, thank you so much. So one of the first thing that I would ask all of the participants over here is that LinkedIn is the place to be. And I was just reading a report that's called Global Green Skills Report by LinkedIn 2022. So it talks about, this transition of the green economy. And just to give you a statistics that in 2015, only 9.6% of the jobs were green, and in 2022 it's 13.3%. So this is a 38% increase. It might look small, but this is a general direction that the economy is greening. The post-COVID world, everyone is going towards greening their jobs, enhancing their green skills. And one of the statistic that I liked from that report is that green jobs would match the oil and gas sector jobs this year. So in 2023, it would balance out all the polluting jobs. So what you all can do, all the young people, and I also did this, like I found movers on LinkedIn, I found ECAP on LinkedIn, I found what other peoples were doing on LinkedIn, what green skills they were adding, which skills were being quite ranked high in terms of better paying jobs and how to upskill myself. So LinkedIn is the place to be. All of you, yeah, do share your LinkedIns, get connected with each other. When we look at each other, we get inspired from each other. And that's how, because LinkedIn is the biggest job market industry. So you can tap the greening side of the economy through LinkedIn. So with that, now I would ask Ia or Chanbora, whoever turn it is, to give some advice to the youth. Thank you.
Okay, I can go ahead. Yeah, LinkedIn is a place to go. And also thank you for those links that you're sharing on the chat. I think earlier I mentioned about the internal work, like internally understand yourself, your strengths, and be confident about it. So I think that's a homework, do some introspection, but also externally, what we can do is find the groups and institutions that you want to be part of. Like if you have a dream job, a dream green job, what is it? Or what are the institutions that are green already? If you want to already be part of, something green or easy to turn into green, kind of institutions and groups, for example. And then identify the skills that and competencies that you need for those kinds of jobs or for that particular institution, for example, or a role. Like if you know someone who is holding a green job, what exactly is their job description like? And then what kind of skills and competencies do they need to have? Like my question for Bora, for example, like as a sustainability operations manager, what skills do you need, right? So, and then start planning your way from there once you've done your research. But also, as part of the research, I think it's not that, I recognize it's not that easy to find jobs by default and then find green jobs. But turn on your job alerts, go to those links shared on the chat and the LinkedIn, join Facebook group communities where they share environment-friendly jobs and jobs for the environment, and turn on your job alerts, because that's what I did. I was just like, okay, there's something green based on my keyword search that I received to in my email inbox, and then I see, oh, they need research skills, they need sustainability reporting is now required in the Philippines, for example. For companies in the Philippines, it's required as part of like an annual requirement for jobs. So companies would need somebody to write their sustainability reports, for example. So be in tune with the trends also. I'll pass it on to Bora.
Thank you. I think it's both of the two speakers already like cover most of everything. So, but yeah, it's really great. LinkedIn is a place to be, and also as AS mentioned, keep your eye peeled of many opportunities that could pop up in your networks. But to me, if there's no like a real if there's like the lack of job opportunity that is that's very hard to come by for you, I think another way to do is to actually become a green entrepreneur. So by trying to identify a problem that's actually happening in your community, so why not make a business and make profit out of it? So this is I think is one strategy to actually jump into this sphere. I have a great example. So in Cambodia, we have Manorums. She's like a founder of Compost City. So she saw a problem with waste, especially household waste. There's like so many like food waste. There's that everyone would just throw away. So instead of doing so, she created like this compost kit where everyone could just put their household waste into this compost station and would turn into like a compost which they could later on use it to put in their garden. So yeah, let's why not make a job out of it. So yeah, so that's my sharing. So thank you everyone, and all back to Dino.
Thank you so much. So LinkedIn is a place to be. speak to people, real people who are having green job, and ask them what you need to be able to do, what experience are required, what skills are required, or start your own climate business. And again, we cover all the green jobs pathway. So thanks for the nice reminder. I see so many questions on the chat, as many and so many LinkedIn profiles. So which is great. We won't have time to answer every question. Maybe we can take one and have one of our panelists to answer one of the questions. So just to be fair, I'll take the first question that was written, which is from Gerald, climate reality leader from the Philippines. It's undeniable that availability of green jobs varies from different countries. How do we convince existing companies to open up opportunities for sustainable jobs, especially those companies that emit a lot of carbon emission, chemical waste? So maybe let's have one of us to answer. I don't know if anyone wants to go ahead.
I'll start, but this is like a little answer to the question. I don't have an answer for like those big companies because I don't even know what gets to them, like what kind of campaigning we need to do to make them change their ways yet. But for businesses, for small businesses, for example, or establishments that you get to enter into, one way is to encourage as many people as you can to demand for the same things. Like if you see they're not still using reusable, for example, they're still using plastics, start asking the owner. Sometimes the owners are just, inside the store, restaurant, or whatever. Why are you still selling water and plastic bottles, for example? Isn't it, can you change this packaging, for example, or start bringing reusable water bottles and whatever? So I think one thing is to make the business owners think. So either you can write to them, you can bombard their LinkedIn profiles, you can do or coordinated campaigning for these companies, for example. But I think try to find a way to reach them. But also I think policy is a big mover. If we want companies to really open up more green jobs, I think we need to talk to the policymakers and the decision makers who have the power to change the regulations and the policies that will then eventually force the industries to open up more opportunities for green jobs and to help that transition. There's also a big issue on just transition, on how we can make sure that everyone's integrated in greening the economy and make sure that no one is left behind. I'll end there.
Thank you, Ea. Thumbs up from Cher and Chanbora. And I think on your last point, it's very important. And it actually answers a little bit the question from Ongxing as well, which is after creating green jobs, we'll have more people in the green industries, but what will happen to the people working in other industries when they lose their job? And it's a very important question that we don't have time to answer, but we can, open the floor in our brain, in our mind, to everyone listening to us, because green jobs, the green economy also has a lot of, how can we open all these jobs in the spirit of social justice? There will be industries with a lot of job creation. There will be industries with big job destruction as well. So that's why when we speak about green jobs, we need to speak about green skills, which is how can we, train as many young people or people in general to have these green skills, but how can we reskill people who will be or who are in the industries which will see job destruction, so that they can reskill themselves and transition to green jobs? So that's great questions, everyone. And maybe to answer quickly myself on answering my own question on what can people do after the dialogue is done, I just wanted to share one opportunity that we have with the Movers and YECAP, which is our Green Job Pioneers interview series. So if you want to follow the advice from Ea, which was to listen to the story of people who are pursuing green jobs right now, you can scan this QR code and listen to 7 amazing stories of people currently having a green job, including Lamea Alam, Ongxing, and so many amazing people, to really understand how did they arrive to their green job, what skills they need, what are they actually doing every day. So this is a small interview series that we can suggest you to listen to if you want to find some more inspiration, ideas of green job, you can scan. And we have so many other program activities that will be on green jobs. And yeah, so many questions, you can share that with the YCAP community in our Facebook group. And I think it can open up a lot of nice conversation. So for the last 2 minutes, maybe let me just ask the audience, can you just share, what words come to your mind? What have you learned during this green job hot seat? Is there any quote that you found some inspiration from? It's always nice to have some, live feedback for Bora, Ea, Shelsha. So if you can just share in the chat how you feel, maybe some words that you have learned, and maybe some quotes, and then we'll look at it while you are reading it. So thank you so much, Cher, Bora, Ea, and I will give it back to Miss Sissy Shen.
Great. Thank you so much, Mr. Ding Long Pham, and to our esteemed panelists for such an exciting discussion on green jobs. And thank you everyone for participating in the chat. I've seen so many LinkedIn profiles, so do take this time to really connect with each other and really be able to discuss how we can further and empower more youth towards green jobs.